Alright guys, and welcome back, and today we have a video about how to replace the power button assembly on this iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's already been stripped because I want to make this video short and as explanatory as possible, and specifically focusing on the power button assembly, how it works, what are the things to look out. And this came in from a back glass replacement. The customer damaged the cable. I already stripped out the phone. This is the motherboard, this is the battery, this is the front camera, I have the antenna cable right here, and I have the shield and the ear speaker right here. This is the tools that I needed, that I was using for the disassembly. There will be a separate video about how to tear down an iPhone 14 Pro Max, including removing the motherboard and the battery. But this video again is specifically on the power button assembly. Now this customer in specific tore the cable right here. I'm not sure if it shows in the video, but he tore it right here. Most likely what happened with that is that they were prying it with the chisel or whatever, or the blade, and they accidentally went between the frame and the metal plate on the back that sits right underneath this back glass, and they punctured the cable right here. So what happened with them is, what were the symptoms actually were the power button, the volume buttons, and the mute switch were completely non-working. Rendered non-working is because they cut it right at the cable itself, where the two parts get joint. So you have the power button assembly here running across with this flex. This flex right here has two, the coil connected to in two positions, right here and right here. Like if I lift this back up, you will see where the coil is. So the coil connects right here, and it connects right here underneath this flex right here. I cannot lift it right now to show you. Then you have the follow this cable right here. This is the charge port, obviously, so follow the cable. It goes right here as well, and then it connects to the volume down, it goes and connects to the volume up, and then it goes and connects to the mute switch right here. So let's go ahead and disassemble it. You're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver for this application. You have 2 sets of screws right here, and then you have 4 sets of screws right here. So this is all that you need to remove. Now there is a screw that's hidden underneath this black adhesive, black tape right here. So we're just gonna use our tweezers to remove that, just so we can expose the Phillips screwdriver, the Phillips screw actually, sorry. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that first. Now I like to put the screws the same orientation that they came out on this mat right here. So let's just go ahead and do that. All right, now I put them in order because some of them are different length and I do not want to confuse them. I also want to keep them together because I do not want to lose where I put them, and it's kind of like self-explanatory when you're, let's say, revisiting the phone another day perhaps, or after an hour that you've gone so much through your head, you can't remember everything. Obviously, we're humans. So as you guys can see, the screw is completely different. It has non-threaded area right here compared to the other two that we just removed. So we're just gonna set it right next to them in order. And then we have one more screw for the mute switch right here. Now this cable, I do not want to apply too much pressure on because it is a little bit thicker cable and it's metal. So if you bend it back and forth, it will break, and we're trying to avoid that because we don't want to replace it. Now this screwdriver has lost its magnetization power, so I just rubbed it on the magnet right here so I can gently so I can grab the screw with it. Now we have 2 more screws for the power button assembly. One right here, the closest to the camera. Remember, I'm putting them in order, so obviously because I was holding the phone like this, I'm just putting it in the bottom. And then this one right here. So the way you start, that's the way you have to lay out the screws. I do that just for me. You don't have to do it. If you think that you're gonna remember where the screws are, you're more than welcome to. Like this one and this one, they're almost the same length, but not really. Actually they are, yes. but they're the same type basically. These two screws are the same type, and these two screws are the same type. Obviously I'm mixing them because now it's magnetized. Now that we remove that, we can go ahead and remove the power button first. Now this flex is kind of adhered to the housing. It has double-sided tape running across. This also comes with the coil. They removed all the magnets because they did a back glass, so now the back glass are not attached to the back. The magnets are not attached to the back glass, but attached to this coil itself. We're gonna go ahead and remove them all. Actually, we're going to have to replace the magnets for them, since it's not possible to save. So now remove these cables out of the way. Now that we have this side lifted, we're going to work on that side right here, and we're going to go ahead and lift up the flex cable from that side as well. Remember, it is adhered to the metal bracket underneath, the metal piece of the frame that's underneath it, so it does require a bit of pressure to lift it up. We don't really care about this cable, so I'm not really being gentle on it. The one that you need to be gentle on is the new cable itself. So now let's go ahead and remove the mute switch. The mute switch is slid in, so we have to slide it out. There you go. And then the button itself stayed in here. We do need that, and I'll show you guys how to put it. It's pretty easy. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove everything that's related to that assembly, including this piece right here. That's part of it. Now this whole assembly sits under the motherboard, obviously. That's why we had to remove the whole board. We're going to remove these magnets as well, because we're going to replace them for the customer. They did a back glass, that's how they damaged it. We're most likely going to replace that back glass for them because they did a really bad job gluing it, to be honest with you. I think they just used the adhesive that came with it versus using adhesive like T8000 or cold press or any other AV glue type that's suited for this application. So we're just going to remove the magnets completely. And we're going to replace it for them. We do have new magnets. As you guys can see, also the back magnets right here, down the magnets underneath, they're also missing. And like right here, for example, the magnets themselves, they're sitting all underneath the metal bracket, which is a big no-no, because this, like, you won't be able to sit the back glass flush with the metal piece, and it won't adhere properly to it. It's best to use a plastic tool in this case, but I'm probably going to change the back glass for them as well, so I'm not too worried about scratching it. That's why I'm using my metal tweezers. But best thing to do is using a plastic tool like that to remove the pieces of the magnets. All right, so now that we have it out, let's just pop out this back glass. As you guys can see, I'm able to pop it out with my hand, which is a big no-no. Like you guys can see, there was no, they actually put a small amount of T8000, but they put it on top of the adhesive, which is not really practical at all. Kind of defeats the purpose, especially now that I put a small like alcohol to remove the battery and stuff. Literally the adhesion power is literally gone. So let's just go ahead and pause the video, and then once I finish the back glass, I'll resume it.
A few moments later.
All right, so now that we have the back glass already gluing, we grab our assembly, right? So there's a couple of things that we need to be careful on, obviously. So I went ahead and removed the adhesive parts right here, the tapes, just so I can have my installation a bit better and I don't have to wiggle my way on it later. I did try to seat it to make sure that it's good. That's why it kind of missing a magnet right here. They got stuck right here, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead and line up our round coil with the housing itself, right? Just to make sure that it's also remember, like this cable right here should be a 90 degree with the housing, right? So kind of visualize where it's going to be. those cables are long enough, even though if you're not perfect 90 degrees, it is okay, perfectly fine. But you have to be careful that your coil is actually sitting on the between the frame itself, right? So let's just go ahead and remove that real quick, push it to the side, lift up the camera connectors, and then push this one down and tape it down. Now we can apply pressure and push it down. Okay, now there's one slight thing right here, that magnet that we put in, that we lifted, is still not 100% lined up, so I'm just gonna push it into place with my tweezers. I'm just gonna push it in place. There you go. So now that it's in place, all right, I can go ahead and start by doing my power button first. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tape it down right where it's supposed to go. Make sure that the screw holes are also lining up, and then we're going to use the screws that we removed. Remember the orientation that you removed them. You have to be very specific. So let's go ahead, and obviously this camera lens is magnetized, so we have to be careful with that. It's gonna, the screw is gonna get caught to the magnet itself, right? So we're just gonna use our tweezers to kind of hold it in place perhaps, and then use our screwdriver, since our screwdriver is not the best, doesn't have the best magnetization. Let me try to actually magnetize it real quick just to see. Let me see. All right, let me see, just go fast. There you go. All right, so now that we are in there, just put the screw, make sure it's tight in there, and then we're gonna grab the other screw. This one we don't have to really worry about it catching to any magnets. The magnet is in the camera itself, so go ahead and put that. You have to be very careful with these cables. You cannot really mistreat them too much, right? So now that we are done with this, we have to first install our mute switch that was here somewhere. Actually it's right here, don't lose it like me. But you see it has this orange thing right here, so this orange thing should be like that. The orange should be facing up towards the screen. That's where the screen would be. Let me remove these clips right here. Just the back glass should be dry enough right now, and it's just gonna help me work a bit better. The reason why I had them there, just so I can make sure that it has enough grip for the glue to dry. And I am kind of on a timely matter with this job, so I was just trying to do everything at once. Now in the back of this button, you can see that there is two kind of brackets right here, and right here, and obviously this one, the button sits right here, and then you have these two guiders that sit. I'll show you where. So let me just hold the phone with one hand. Now remember, this mute switch goes like this, right? So you have these two guiders. Now make sure your button is the groove right there. Line it up with this one, and then make sure to slide it down, and make sure that the button makes the click. That way the button goes in place, and it's right underneath this piece right here. So now if I lift up, it does not fall. So let's just go ahead and first put our mute switch, then we will put our power button assembly. The same way we removed it is the same way it's going to go back in. So so it's going to be the volume buttons first, then the mute switch, right? So let's go ahead and line it up. We don't have to put all the screws, we just need one for now for this one, just so we can line up the mute switch. So I'm just gonna put the middle one for now. For the volume buttons, the middle one for the volume buttons, one of the screws that holds is in common with the mute switch and the volume buttons. which is the two ones that I explained, the half threads versus the whole screw being threaded. So just to hold it down, and then we are going to push our mute switch. It's gonna slide in, right? Same way it went out, it should go back in. So it's a slide, so we're just going to line it up with the housing, and then we are going to gently apply a firm pressure on the back and even, just so it can slide in place. Don't worry if it's not all the way in and it's still wiggling, that's fine. What will help us is basically the screws. They'll push it back in. We're just gonna loosen up this screw a bit because this button's still not lined up and it does have to move and match with this one, right? So we're gonna go ahead and put this screw first, the one that's holding the volume button and the mute switch together, and we are going to not tighten it all the way because, as you guys can see, now this one moved, right? So we have to put the other screw in, and then we tighten everything together at the same time, even pressure. It has a gasket for water damage, obviously, so I mean technically the phone's not water resistant anymore, so because the back glass has been done and the screen has been opened, but it's good to prevent dust to go in, right? So let's just apply the pressure that we need with the screw, and now we can tighten the other one all the way in. All right, so let's just give it a quick test, make sure that the switch works, and there you go. Now it's good. So now we can go ahead and tighten this one back up and then put the other screw in. All right, and there you guys have it. That's how I do the power button assembly. This is the whole assembly. Now this, as you guys can see, this adhesive, right? So it is got up a little bit on this one. I'm just gonna gently lift it, since I did not set it all the way down yet. I'm going to gently lift it up without damaging the cable, and then I am going to line it up because this is not good that the board is going to sit on top of this. Also, it is an aftermarket cable, so there might be that issue right here as to why it's loose like that and it has like this long of a stretch. But this cable, we're going to push it down in, right? It has to be in, it's not on this piece right here. There you go. It is a little longer, but from factory, I guess, just because it's an aftermarket. Massage it in place, just so it stays. And then it has to be taped to the back of this metal piece as well, to make sure that's taped as well. Now that we have that done, we can go ahead and remove this blue cover. Now for some reason this one has lost its adhesion power on this side. I'm not sure why, but we're just gonna use a strip of double-sided tape just to hold it down. Get our scissors. And then set it right where it's supposed to go. There you go. And there you guys have it. This is how I do the power button assembly on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's relatively easy. It's not labor. It is labor intensive a little because you do have to empty out everything almost. But the process itself, it is easy. You do have to be careful. These cables are really fragile and you do not want to tear it like the customer did on this back glass job. I added these magnets in the bottom, obviously, and the coil came with the magnets needed for the back glass for the MagSafe assembly. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment. Feel free to like and subscribe. And if you have any special requests, also please leave them in the comment. Remember, we do specialize in business to business and business to customer repairs. If you have a repair like this that you could not do yourself, you're not comfortable doing it, you can just send it to us. We do back glass replacements, better job than that, obviously. That's not our job. And we do soldering, we do refurbishing, we do all of that and more. For general inquiries, please reach out to us in the details in the description in the bottom of this video, and then we can get you going. Well, have a good day and on to the next one.